Morning, guys. Day, what are we on? 310, I think? Somewhere right around there. It is freaking cold this morning. I'm out in my back room. I was going to go outside. No. No, it's down in the low 50s and it's damp, so it goes right through you. Whoo. I see that the rest of the country is getting a whole bunch of snow and crap dumped on them. Well, we're definitely catching the tail end of that storm or that system, that's for sure. It started cooling off last night pretty quickly, and it was really windy during my broadcast, and it's still pretty windy out today. The whole day is supposed to be cold, wet, and windy. But tomorrow it's supposed to warm back up and it'll be in the mid 70s. So, whatever. Anyway, today I've just got a whole bunch of work to do. I've got a ton of videos I need to get out. I've got some reviews I need to do. And the wife, she's on vacation. She's, a teacher. What the heck? The freaking hawk just flew right by the door. I don't know what the heck it was. That thing is huge. I don't know what he was after. Looked like there was something on the porch. Scared the crap out of me. Can you see how big that is? He's about 1.5 feet tall. Wow. He is no joke. Let me see if I can open the door. I think he sees me. Hey, buddy. What you doing? Yeah, he sees me. There he goes. Wow, what was he hunting? He's just hanging out on the fence down there. Wonder if he saw another little bird here, because there's some seed on the porch. Sometimes they like to try to get in on it. Wow. I can't believe he made it through there. He went through the gap in my trellis and flew right over one of my chairs out here. I thought it was a cat or something. It was huge. Anyway, the wife, she's a teacher. She's on vacation, and she's bugging me to go to Epcot. But the problem is, everybody else that's bored around here on vacation is at Disney and Epcot and Universal and Busch Gardens, and their freaking parks are packed right now. I don't want to go during that time. So we'll go another weekend, but I got to work this weekend anyway. Man, no thanks. Those crowds are just crazy. But yeah, this time of the year, when literally everybody's off work and the kids are home and they're bored and she's bored. Since she got back from New York, she's just, nothing to do. So she's been bugging me. I'm not on vacation. I'm working all day. It's just another day to me. But I did schedule a couple more shoots next weekend and Saturday. What am I doing Saturday? Can't remember. I've got something during Saturday. I'm doing another test live broadcast just to iron out the technical kinks. I don't care if any people join, but I need to get that working out. I think I figured it out. I was up till about 12:30 last night figuring out what went wrong, and I think I got it. So just a bad combination of updates and things rolling in all at once, and it's one of those things where I thought I gave myself enough time. I started about 45 minutes early setting up, dragged everything out here, and I actually turned everything on like it was complete, ready to go about 20 minutes in advance, and that's when I found the problem, and there just wasn't enough time to troubleshoot and get it working. I think I started about 30 seconds late as it was going back to the webcam. Excuse me, and it looked like crap. I probably should have taken a minute, ran inside, and grabbed a white shirt, because I think that would have helped the auto exposure of the camera. As it turned out, because I had a black shirt on, and my planned gear wouldn't have cared, but the webcam has auto exposure, so it sees a black shirt and it sees the black sky behind me. It's trying to crank up the exposure to get the overall scene exposed correctly. Well, that blew out my face, and there's nothing I could do about it. It didn't have anything to do with the light on me or anything. It's just the combination of what the camera saw and how the software works and that kind of thing. You don't have any manual control over it. But I just didn't think of it at the time. Should have ran in and grabbed a white shirt, and that probably would have made the video 10 times better. But it is what it is. Looked like crap, but we had a good time. It was just under 2 hours, and yeah, so that's done. Saturday, I'll be doing another test one, and then I have at least one more planned for a month from now, and I'm working on another kind of spin-off of that, and I'll have details about that if things work out like I have planned for that. So, anyway, time to get to work. I just chewed one of the Livewire Energy Chews. I want to give it a fair shake. And yes, cereal marshmallows, all I have is your order. Their order has not come in yet. It's been a week and a half. So I've got two left from your box, and I just want to see if I notice anything. I chewed it about 15 minutes ago, just before I started this clip, and I'm up first thing in the morning. I'm not going to have any coffee or anything because I want to feel what it does, if anything, for me. So I will give them a very fair shake. I think you sent me the citrus. It's an orange box. They taste pretty good. There's not a whole lot of flavor to them. It's not exactly what I was expecting. They start off like a Starburst, but then after about 2 seconds, they start dissolving. And by 10 seconds, it's completely gone. So it's not like, I wouldn't even call it a chew. I would call it something different if I were them. Because a chew to me is like a Starburst. You know, you're chewing it for a few minutes until it goes away. This is more like a children's aspirin. Yeah, you chew it, but it disintegrates almost immediately. It just turns to a little bit of a powder and then gone. So, I don't know. I wouldn't call it a chew. It's more of, I don't know, something else. So we'll see how it works. And last night I took one. I didn't take one. I ate one about an hour before my show, just as a test, as a pick-me-up. I didn't want to drink any coffee because then I'd have to pee in the middle of the show. And like I said, I never drink any energy drinks or anything at home, so I just wanted some energy for the show. That wasn't a real good test because I was freaking cold outside. I was running around like a chicken with my head cough because of the problems. So I was kind of amped up anyway, and that wasn't a real good baseline test. So I don't know how much of that I felt because of the energy chew last night. But this morning, it's going to be a good test. So if I feel anything, I'm being aware of anything that resembles a Monster energy drink, which I'm very familiar with how that feels, or my coffee, which I'm also very familiar with how that feels. So in, I don't know, half an hour, I should know one way or the other if they equate to anything I'm used to. That's it. I got to get to work. We'll see what else happens. Well, just got back from a walk. No video out there today. It is windy. I mean, it's windy in here in the garage. And it's cold. If I didn't stay moving, I'd get chilly. Anyway, I wanted to give you an update on the Livewire Energy Chews. Excuse me. Tried one this morning. Did one last night. Like I said, not a real fair comparison because I had too much other stuff going on. But this morning, it was a real fair test. I got plenty of sleep. Got up about 8 o'clock. And usually my routine is I'll have about a half a pot of coffee before lunch, just going through it here in the morning. And that's my normal pick-me-up, just to get me up to an even keel. And my cups of coffee are about 2 normal cups of coffee size, or big mugs. So half a pot is just 2 cups for me. And I'm very familiar, like I said, with how that feels. Okay, first off the bat, it is nothing like a Monster. Just get that out of your mind. It's nothing like the rush you get from a Monster. It's nothing like the energy level you get from a Monster. Not even close. Maybe 2 or 3 would be. Wouldn't know. I only have 2 left right now. I'll do a test with that probably tomorrow. And I'm hoping my freaking order gets here from the company. Not impressed with their shipping times. I'm still on the little box that Cereal Marshmallow sent me. It's been a week and a half. I mean, what'd they do? Take the whole dang holiday off? They could have put it in the mail and it would have been here by now. Twice. So just kind of stupid that I haven't got that order yet. I got the shipping notice, but I'll have to go and see if they have a tracking number. They might have shipped it UPS or something. I don't know. Anyway, not here yet. So that's not cool. I would liken one of the chews to one of my cups of coffee. It does not give you an immediate energy rush, doesn't give you an immediate pick-me-up. By 9 o'clock, I was feeling like I had one of my cups of coffee. It was just kind of bringing me up to a normal level. I wasn't jittery. I wasn't real alert. Just kind of come up to normal. That's really it. So, like I said, maybe chewing 2 at once would have a different effect. And I'll experiment. I've got a big sampler of 20 coming, so I'll experiment, see how long things last. But, it looks like it might be a decent substitute for at least some of my daily coffee. So that's cool, but definitely, absolutely not a substitute for a big energy drink. And like I said, I drink a Monster when I'm on the way to a shoot, and that's because I need that immediate big energy rush. I need to be alert, on my toes, start going when I hit the door, so that's why I'm drinking it on the way to a shoot. Nothing like that. There is no big rush of energy at all. After an hour, I could kind of feel something. That's the most I can say. So, for anyone looking out there for a replacement for one of those big Monsters or a Red Bull or a 5-hour energy drink, I'd say it's closer to the 5-hour energy drinks because those don't give you an immediate rush either. Those are very long-term, even-keeled, kind of like continually drinking coffee. Those aren't like Monster either. So, just want to let you guys know that's what I'm getting out of it so far. And I'll continue to play whenever the order gets here with quantities of it and frequency, and we'll see what happens. It's still, even if you have to chew like 3 at once a couple times a day, it's still cheaper than buying energy drinks if that's what you're into. So the economies change. I was looking forward to one being equal to one Monster, but it is what it is. Anyway, I'm freezing. I'm going inside. Brr. So yesterday someone asked about calibrating my TV because I'd mentioned in a previous video here that I got the new home theater, obviously, and I had calibrated the TV. And they're like, hey, what's that and how do I do it? So let me run through the concept of calibration and show you some of how it's done. First of all, what is calibration? Well, calibration is making sure that what you see on your display, whether it's a TV or a computer monitor, or actually from things like printers, have the industry standard look. There is an industry standard specifically for home theaters, for example, of how the picture is supposed to look. How bright it is, how the contrast is set, what colors are shown, what tones they are, etc., etc. There is a standard set by basically the movie industry, the electronics industries, and everyone is to set to that to industry standard specs. So how do you get that? Well, it's a combination of things. First of all, you need, if you're going to do it yourself, a couple different devices to do it fully. First is a calibration disc. This is the Avia Guide to Home Theater. Now this is an older DVD edition. They now make it in Blu-ray, obviously. And there's other companies that make a similar product. Disney even has one. Basically what this does is you pop it in your player and it takes you through all the different settings, and it's a trial and error thing where you can judge by looking at the screen, and they give you colored filters to actually look through to set your color tones and go through all the settings in your TV to get it to that industry standard. To get it even further, if your device supports it, you can use one of these. This is called a spectrophotometer or a colorimeter. And this is an optical sensor that is placed right on the display, and through special software, patterns and colors are shown on the TV, and this will optically read it and calculate the very precise measurements to get perfect display colors and tints and brightness and all of that. So this is, if your display supports the settings for it, the very best way to do it. And some very high-end televisions, such as Bang & Olufsen, have these built in, and they will self-calibrate themselves periodically. But this is certainly a higher-end device. I use it because
I perform it as a service for other photographers and videographers. I calibrate their computer monitors because it's very important if you're doing any kind of editing to obviously have perfect displays that you're working on. But again, it can only be done with very high-end displays. And luckily, this particular TV is a high-end display. It has full controls built in for modifying everything about the picture. So that's why I was extremely happy with this particular model, because it does give you those settings to get perfect calibration. Now, that being said, you do not have to do all that. It is very easy these days to go on avsforums.com, where there are thousands of people talking every day about home theater. And pretty much somebody out there has already professionally calibrated just about every model of TV on the market. You know, there aren't that many out there. There are really only about a dozen different physical panels being built, and then you have all the companies putting the other stuff onto them, the smart connectivity, different bezels, different stands, speaker configurations. But the guts, it's like laptops. There are only a handful of different guts in the world. So there are already settings out there for you to look up and plug right into your unit, and that's exactly what I did here. So I went online, I found the model. Somebody had already done a while ago the professional calibration. They had all the settings. I plugged them in, and bam, it is perfect. And that's really all you have to do these days for just about any TV out there. Now, I had this stuff years and years ago. I bought this with my old TV. Back then, you didn't have resources like that, and there were many, many more models of TVs on the market. So you had to do it yourself. And that's why I've had this. And my old TV was also a very professional model, but it wasn't as easy to do, because back then you had to basically hack your TV. You had to go into what was called the service menu, which was designed for a repairman to go in, and that gave you access to all those higher end functions. But today, on the higher end TVs, you have everything right at your fingertips in the settings menu. I can go in here to picture. Now, by default, most TVs will lock you out of some of these features because you can really mess up your picture if you don't know what you're doing. Expert 1, that is basically just meaning I have it set to a user custom setting. I have modified things. Okay, that's why they call it Expert 1. You have to know exactly what you want to change. Out of the box, pretty much every single TV is set way over bright, way over saturated. It gives you incorrect colors. Okay, let me back up just a second. You are viewing this on your own device. You're viewing this through my iPhone that I'm recording it on, past my editor, etc., etc. You are not seeing any kind of calibration. You probably will not even see a distinct difference as I go through these settings, because so many things are happening between what I'm seeing here in my living room and what you're seeing on your device. But I think if I flip through these quick enough, you'll see that things change. Brightness, contrast, saturation, sharpness. I mean, for example, look at the blues in that back picture as I just flip through between vivid and standard. You can see that there's a huge difference there. That's really obvious. Which one is correct? Well, you don't know that until you can measure it and do a calibration. The other thing is your eyes adjust very quickly. And you can look at this for 5 minutes and think it looks great. Then you could step down here. Oh, well, that's too dark. Well, you can look at this for 5 minutes and flip to this and think, oh, well, that's too bright. And then you can look at this for 5 minutes and, oh, that's even too brighter. I mean, you don't know which one is right. You can't eyeball it. That's why everything has to be by the numbers. And I can't exactly tell you how to do it for your model, because all these options that you see completely change between models and brands of television. What you see right here is pretty much the only stuff that you're going to see on 99% of sets out there. These are the standard controls. Panel light, that's simply the brightness of the backlighting. Your TV is either backlit or side lit by fluorescent tubes or LEDs. They are producing the light, and the colors and everything you see are basically little LCD filters that light is pushing through. That's how the TV works. So panel light at 100 that's basically the standard setting. You don't want it dropping below that, especially in a plasma, because this is as bright as they get. That's the only downside to plasma. They don't get as bright as LCDs. So anyway, back in here. Contrast, brightness, sharpness. Sometimes sharpness is just one slider. Color and tint. These are the basic controls that have been around for years on televisions. Beyond that, you're not guaranteed to have everything in your standard menu. You may need to Google and find out how to go into the service menu to get further than this. And further than this is absolutely required to do a calibration. So down here, we can go to Expert Control. We've got two further options, Expert Control and Picture Options. Both of these are needed, and these are what would be in the service menu and other sets to really dial in the calibration. And again, all of these settings were already done for me by somebody else, and I simply got them off of the forum. I'm not going to explain what each one of them does because it doesn't really matter. I would be here for an hour. But the point is, by setting everything to the very specific correct settings, this gets you the perfect picture. I'm going to go back here. Down in Picture Option. This is specifically about how the picture is being treated through the TV. There are a lot of different type of settings for what happens to the picture. For example, noise reduction. Obviously, you don't want noise reduction on if you're playing a Blu-ray. It's going to have a perfect picture. But maybe there's something that you do want noise reduction on, like some kind of analog camcorder, for example. You might want to clean that signal up. MPEG noise reduction, that would be for a highly compressed video coming from maybe a really crappy old camcorder. Real Cinema, Motion IQ, these deal with how the refresh rate and how the processor in the TV will treat things that are moving. You might see things from, say, Vizio that will have their, I can't remember what they call it. I got motion control in my head, but it's smooth motion, I think it's called. It makes people just look like they're moving very smoothly. It's a very weird effect, and you're either going to like it or love it. I don't particularly care for it, so I turn all those enhancements off. I want to see exactly the way it was supposed to be as it was produced, and that is the true point of calibration. You want to see it exactly as the movie director intended. So this gets you to industry standard settings. If you want to tweak it from there, maybe you want it a little brighter. Maybe your room has a lot of light in it. You need some better brightness. Maybe you like more saturation. That's fine. Just know that getting to calibration gets you to that 0 point. If you want to artistically change it from there, that's complete personal choice. But that is the point of calibration. And again, I can't tell you exactly what your menu is going to look like, what options you're going to have, or what your numbers are going to be. You need to look all that up for your specific model of television. So that's it. That is all there is to calibration, but the bottom line is it gets you absolutely the best color possible from your particular television. Whether or not that is awesome color in picture or not depends on your model. So that is where careful selection of the model comes into play, and doing your research before you make your purchase to make sure that that particular model actually calibrates well. That's it. Hey, look what finally arrived today. So we've got 5 flavors here. The citrus mango are the ones that Cereal Marshmallow sent me that I've tried, so I know what they taste like. I'm not expecting big flavors now out of the rest of them, given that I know how little flavor there is, I mean, compared to like a Starburst. Not even half as much actual flavor. But I mean, it still tastes good. Not complaining. Just don't expect candy-like flavor out of these, even though they look like it. And then we have a sour apple. That sounds good. We've got a pomma berry. Not a big fan of pomegranate, but I'll give it a shot. Got cinnamon fire, which I'm expecting to taste like a Red Hot. And we've got mint chocolate. Maybe like a Girl Scout cookie. So there we go. I will be further experimenting with these. And that gives me a total of 22 left that I can play with. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. All right, well, I got to make a bank run because I've got some checks to deposit and some more work to do. That's it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow.